President Trump has repeatedly referred to April 2nd as Liberation Day, the day he's set to announce reciprocal tariffs. This weekend, the president said all countries will be impacted, and these new tariffs come as the administration is also trying to put increased pressure on automakers to make their vehicles in the U.S.
Brutal Americans, that this is a phrase, by the way, not only that should we embrace, but we should embrace as a badge of honor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the left, the more they try to make us look evil and the more they try to make us look like we're these uncaring beings, the cooler they make us look. I mean, I think that this attitude is exactly what people in America want the MAGA movement to be. We want to be these fighters, these people that are going against cultural Marxism, progressivism, and are going against this European view of the world. You know, formerly under the Bush administration, under the Obama administration, we were always these neocons, neoliberals that were kowtowing to a global government or kowtowing to a globalist movement. And I think now that we have this America First concentration, we're able to be brutal Americans because we're America first. Europeans should view us as brutal, as tough negotiators, as people who think that we are the intimidators. We are people that, you know, are going to dictate policy. We're not going to be ran over by foreign policy that's going to, you know, go off the backs of American workers and crush on the backs of American workers. We're going to put the American worker first, not corporations that are overseas, not corporations that are in our own country trying to dictate our own economic policy, but we're going to be putting the workers first. And I think through these reciprocal tariffs, and I think for this, you know, trade war that we're seeing going on in America and with foreign countries like Canada and Mexico and others, I think you're finally seeing the right kind of policy that is putting American citizens before anything else. And that's what brutal means to the Europeans. You know, this Anne Applebaum wrote this piece basically about her European travels, like we've changed a personality. We used to be so caring and so charitable, and now we're not. That's not it. It's not that we're not being nice to these people. We're just not going to be run over anymore. We're not going to be kowtow to the EU. We're not going to kowtow to the United Nations, and we're certainly not going to kowtow to the presidents or prime ministers of countries that could care less about us and give no benefit to us. So all brutal American means is brutally honest and brutally reliant and loyal to the American people, and we're going to fight these battles brutally.
And that really is it. You know, it's going to, by the way, and some of that pain, I understand. It's going to be through the economy, and there's going to, let's be clear. This is going to be one of those things where you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And I see the Daily Mail is coming out there. Senator Rand Paul has come out, in opposition to the tariffs. A number of other people have come out against the tariffs on the MAGA side of the aisle. And understand that and what President Trump is doing, and what we're talking about that we support through human events, is this idea of restructuring the global order, where yes, it's not going to be GDP first. It's actually going to be people first. And the people that we're putting first are the American people and the American worker. Kenny, you're writing right there in Appalachia. Talk to me about how the global economy has devastated that area.
I mean, it 100% has. I mean, factories and the working class is the backbone of Appalachia. It's the backbone of Cotton County, where I live. It's the backbone of the 1st Congressional District in Tennessee. We rely on workers, factory workers, those that are in trade, to have the backbone here. And for far too long, these foreign countries that abuse the imports, these exports, have taken control and made these companies fail economically during the 2008 crisis. And throughout the last 10 or 12 years, it's not the companies that are, reliant on American cities that are affected the most. American cities can recycle workers. They can hire anybody. They can say, if this person's not doing the work, or if they're not happy with it, they're getting paid, we can bring in migrants. We can bring in anybody else from the other cities. We can, drain from another city and have people come in from a mobility rate standpoint, come in and work. In rural Appalachia, these jobs are what makes our economy. They are what runs small towns. And when you have countries and corporations overseas that are taking advantage of these small towns in America, such as those in Appalachia and those in small towns in states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, it can drain these communities. It can drain these economies. Through not only are these people's pockets emptying, these towns and these states and these regions are being depleted economically because we don't have the same opportunity, because we are kowtowing to foreign nations. It's depleting these American workers first. Look, nobody's saying that these corporations that employ these American workers, we need to let them run roughshod over us, but we need to be prioritizing employing Americans, employing those from the region that build the backbone and build the back that these regions are based upon, and allow that economy to thrive. Because if we don't allow our local economies to thrive in these small towns like the one that I live in, America itself is going to vanish. And we have to be able to prioritize the people that literally elected this president. The working class in this country are the ones that elected Donald Trump to 2 non-consecutive terms and have manipulated change throughout the congressional districts, throughout the Senate races, and legislative races throughout the country. So we have to be able to put the American worker first, put the auto industry, those that work in the auto industry, those who work in metal, steel, whatever else, in the working class, put those workers first before we put corporations and foreign countries first. And that's what these tariffs are going to be able to be doing, and putting us first in trade negotiations.
And look, this is going to be a fight. It's going to be a brutal fight, and it's going to take brutal Americans to do this. You know, President Trump, he's also talking, people have said, whoa, this means car prices are going up. This means, and by the way, even American cars, because a lot of the auto parts are coming from overseas as well, they're going to get hit by tariffs. So you might see American cars go up. I think 2% was the number that I saw. But President Trump has come out and says, guess what? Your interest rates can be deductible if you buy an American car. I love, by the way, when President Trump also said that, it's typically interest rates or something that or deductibles or something that the rich usually has, these write-offs, the idea that you can write off something that's something that, that the average working class person doesn't usually deal with, especially if they're not running their own company or have an S Corp, an LLC or something like that. And look, it's as simple as this. It really is as simple as this. The greatest generation, the silent generation, they didn't have 3 cars in their garage. They had 1 car, and they drove that car their whole lives, and it worked. They got it fixed. They got it repaired. It worked. They didn't upgrade their TV at Costco every year. They had 1 TV or 1 radio and then 1 TV, and it worked. So is there going to be a pain? You bet. Is it going to be at the cost of your convenience? At first. But it has to hurt first if it's going to heal. And that's what it's all about. That's what's about when it comes to actually reworking the global system. And Secretary Besson came here on Human Events last week, and he said this. The American dream is not about cheap baubles from overseas, is it, Kenny Cody?
No, America is, we always have this debate, right? We're not just an economic tool. People are not tools for the economy or the GDP. We are prioritizing American families, prioritizing in the American working class, and the voters that voted in this change before we're going to be kowtowing to foreign countries, corporations, or anything else. We are not an idea. We are a nation, and we are a people. And those people come first before anything else. And those people mandated this change back in November. So we have to make sure that we are concentrating on prioritizing the right economic policy, the right foreign policy, and the right negotiation tactics to come up with the best result and the best outcome for those workers and their families and their children's futures and their own futures. We have to be able to prioritize that before we concentrate on any other economic, GDP scale or anything to brag on MSNBC. We need to be able to ensure that American workers are safe, their savings accounts are funded, and their children can go to school, their children can be safe, stay alive, and ensure that these families are facilitated throughout the next generation and create the next great generation as those that came before them.